It's been 40 fabulous years since the Electroglas family began. It was in this garage that a company known as Specialty Products was conceived. Our only product at the time was called a glass capillary, built evenings and weekends by owner Arthur Lash and his friends. Margie Fields was our first full-time employee. Silicon Valley was a very different place in the 1960s, and so was Electroglas. In 1960, we moved into Art's father's garage in Palo Alto. This location became the birthplace of Electroglas, and Art was soon able to leave his other job and work full-time at fostering his enterprise. In July, Specialty Products became officially incorporated and took the name Electroglas. Redwood City was home to our first real office. Here, we designed our first piece of hardware, a bonding machine. Next, Electroglas built a diffusion furnace, better than any offered on the market. In 1963, we were up and moving again into 2 buildings at Menlo Park. That same year, Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his powerful speech.
It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream.
The next year, America met the Beatles. The Ford Mustang made its first appearance, and a small company named Contronics merged with Electroglas. This was an immediately successful union, and along came the 131 manual prober and the 920J semi-automatic prober.
Well, the first semi-automatic prober automatically positioned the wafer under the probes with very high precision as compared to what an operator could do.
Meanwhile, the space race of the early 60s continued, and Art went back to researching ideas independently. Times were changing, and so was Electroglas. We were bought by EM&M and then merged with Rucker & Coles.
I've heard people from the Electroglas side say that Rucker & Coles was the country club. And there was a lot of credence to that when you looked at the antics that went on with the upper management of Rucker & Coles.
Skirts were about to get shorter, and so did the Electroglas work week.
The 4-day work week at Electroglas. Ah, what a wonderful thing. That was an entire decade that we appreciated that.
The decade closed with Woodstock, the concert that ignited a generation, and the first manned lunar landing, a moment that took everyone's breath away. Wow! Saturday seemed more important than ever. Women began to play a more significant role in the workforce. The developing semiconductor industry led to the name Silicon Valley, and the floppy disk was invented. In 1972, Zynetics bought Electroglas. This marriage was powered by the strength of Zynetics' linear motor technology. A gas shortage kicked in during 1973 that affected some more than others.
In Santa Clara there, I had a 0.8, that's 0.8 miles travel commute one way each day to work. And for 23 years I had it. It was kind of nice.
Electroglas introduced the 1034X in anticipation of the semiconductor industry's move toward increased automation.
We thought we were through with the 1034X design. I was the project engineer on it, but we discovered we had a vibration problem in it. And Tex and I were working about 3 o'clock in the morning, and he kept hearing music.
I said, I think the motor's singing to me, you know. that's when he lost it.
And I thought, well, he's finally losing it, 3 o'clock in the morning, better get him out of here.
I said, but this time, really, I mean, listen to this. And it turned out to be the motor was really doing it. Something he was doing with our little op amp, if he got it in a certain way, it was actually picking up a radio station, filtering it and everything, like a little crystal radio or something.
So Tex really wasn't cracking up.
Electroglas moved to 2901 Coronado, and later in the year added 3001 Coronado to its Santa Clara base.
We were at the Coronado Drive campus for a quarter of a century. And over that period of time, we grew tremendously. We acquired one building at a time. We acquired other companies. We transitioned from Electroglas to Zynetics to General Signal. We sold off divisions. We went public. It was a great time for Electroglas.
This happened in, I forget what year it was, but it was at 3001 Coronado. And it was during one of our downturns, so we had a lot of empty offices, and they were pretty much dark for the most part and used for part storage. So Jim went looking for some parts one time, and he was looking in an office, opened the door, and it was pitch black in there, so he reached over, turned the light on, and he looked down and he was surprised to see two naked people on the floor. He was so stunned that he backed out of the room and closed the door, and then as an afterthought, he opened the door up, turned the light off, and closed the door again.
In 1976, Steve Wozniak, an Electroglas alum, formed Apple Computer with Steve Jobs in a garage.
Well, I think everybody knows what Steve Wozniak is like. He's never changed. I can tell.
I never purchased one of these, but I heard that he had these black boxes that would allow you to make phone calls and not be charged for it. Now, I think he denies it also, but I think he knows something about it.
During the late 70s, Saturday Night Fever remained an institution. Television was out and the movie was in. With the 1980s came the trend to stay home, solve Rubik's Cube, play Pac-Man and video games, or do your own private workout. After being bought again in 1980, Electroglas became a unit of General Signal. The early 80s were significant years of technological advancement. The space shuttle headed toward the heavens, the IBM PC was introduced, and Sun Microsystems was founded. In 1982, the highly successful 2001 automatic wafer prober debuted.
We had over $85 million worth of sales, the first year of sales in 1984 for that product. Just unbelievable success, hit the money right on the market. It's just unbelievable how that thing took off.
Of course, it can never be all work and no play.
This was a case where Jerry Lucas was president and Carlene Wilson was personnel manager. And she went into his office and said, "Why didn't you tell me we're having a champagne party in the plant today?" And he says, "I don't know anything about it." And she said, "Well, the whole company thinks we're going to have this party." And he says, "Well, I suggest you better get it ordered then."
In the late 80s, Macintosh made work easier. We could listen to Michael Jackson, Madonna, or Wham on CD. The Berlin Wall fell, and the decade closed with a renewed hope for peace. With the exception of the Titanic, things got faster and smaller in the 90s. Cell phones and laptops became popular, and the Silicon Valley neighborhood became wealthier and more crowded. 1993 was a big year of transition at Electroglas.
The atmosphere when Electroglas went public was a very exciting time. All the employees were looking, I'm going to have a piece of the action, and we're doing this for us. We're not really working for anyone else. And I think it boosted spirits.
Changes in technology kept coming at a fast pace. Even the planet seemed to get smaller. One of the hottest IPOs of the decade, Netscape, went public in 1996. Soon, a whole slew of .coms sprouted in Silicon Valley. As the wafer size increased to 200 millimeters, the Electroglas family also increased. Kurt was elected chairman, and we acquired Knights and Techne. Our line of products continued to grow, and Electroglas had expanded into a global company. It was time to build our dream home, and so we did, at 6024 Silver Creek Valley Road, San Jose. Gradually, it took shape as the grand headquarters of the Electroglas family. In May 2000, we got to see a dream come true. Our new home was fully occupied and officially opened. But what makes Electroglas what it is today is more than a building. It's you, the people, who've been a part of the Electroglas family over the first fabulous 40 years.
Basically, Electroglas, in my mind, has always been a people company.
And I'm sure that when I retire at some point, I'll fondly think back about all the years that I spent with Electroglas and all the people that I crossed paths with. It's been spectacular.
I wanted to put a red circle and a cross.
Hey, milk! I still like pizza.
We asked for margaritas and I said sorry. What about?